Hello, and welcome to the stream this evening. As you'll see up in the top right-hand corner there, I'm joined again by Matthias, who is, like me, he's a member of the cake build team that is responsible for the development and maintenance of the cake build tool, or build orchestration tool. So we are here tonight to talk again about improving the deployment of the cake build website. So we started this process 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, correct. 2 weeks ago, I think.
So 2 weeks ago, we started that process. And during that process, we had a couple of issues, let's say. Azure didn't like us that day for one reason or another. Azure didn't really like us. And we got to a point, I think, where we had a plan in place. We knew what we wanted to do, and we just had to implement it. One of the issues was not having the right, or me not having the right permissions in Azure to do certain things. So Matthias had to log in with his original account that created the organization on Azure to assign some permissions, but I think we've got all that sorted out.
Yeah. So we got so far. So we built the site and generated an artifact. And when we went to release it, we wanted to do that with Cake, but it failed. So we released it with the release in Azure DevOps. So now we're going to finish it with Cake, hopefully, the way we want to.
So originally we thought the issue with the deployment through Cake was related to file size. Is that correct?
Yeah, something like that, but it actually worked on my machine, so I would just say it's something on Gary's machine, and it worked when I tried it on the CI pipeline, so hopefully we will just skip Gary's machine and go to the CI and hope we'll get it to work there.
Okay, fine. So just a quick hello in the chat room. So I see already we have Maurice and Kim in the chat room, so thank you for coming along. So where do you want to start then, Matthias? Do you want to start with... Well, we have a Brave Cobra. Who's I don't know that handle now. Who's Brave Cobra? Is that anyone I know?
I've seen him before.
Welcome to the stream anyway. Thank you for attending. I like to know people's actual names. I'm a bit old fashioned like that. So.
I mean, it's terrible when you go to conferences and they don't have the Twitter handle, and people like me that don't have a proper profile picture on Twitter, and I have my brand, so I think I need to print stickers with my with my avatar on, so people can actually find me. Yeah, so we have a plan. We want to be able to do the whole build in Cake. Currently, we come so far, so all our development builds are pushed to, but we also want our production site to be pushed. And we want to switch from using the Azure DevOps pipeline bits to actually use Cake bits. So
okay, so let me break that down just a little bit so in my own head. So we have a GitHub Repository that is the Cake website. So every time we do a commit into the develop branch on that GitHub repository, it's going to use YAM. There's a Cake build behind the scenes that takes all of the input files, runs a YAM build, and then those files get deployed somewhere at the minute. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the old way that we currently use, though, for production is that we use Git deploy. So essentially, the output of the YAM build gets committed to a branch, which you can see, like if you bring up the Cake site on GitHub, we can display those branches. We actually have a publish for development and publish for the production part.
So I'm bringing that up now. So if I zoom in here, if I can. So we have a develop branch, we have a master branch, and we have a publish develop, and we have a publish master.
Yeah. So what currently happens is if someone sends a pull request, we merge it into develop. That will trigger a build on AppBear, and when the output of the static site generator YAM is done, it will commit those files to the Git repository that publish develop. And when we're like happy with that, we merge it to master, and it will trigger a new build, and the output of the YAM will happen, like end up in public master. So if you check those branches, they don't look anything like the other because that's the actual site. And when they're committed to one of those branches, currently Azure websites will notify the branch has changed and do a file copy.
Okay.
And what we have done now with development is that actually like the publish develop isn't used anymore, because that's how far we got to last stream. So now we build the site on develop. We will generate a zip artifact, and that will push to an Azure website.
Okay.
And our idea is like now when we're happy with that build, we don't want to build it again as we do now on Appier. We want to just take that zip artifact and move it and just publish it to our production website. And that's what we're going to do today, hopefully.
Cool.
So if we go to, you can go to Azure DevOps.
So Brave Cobra just confirmed that Brave is his first name. I'm assuming it's a him, so that's good. And Jericho is also in the chat room, so I wanted to shout out to say hello to Jericho. So for those of you who don't know, Jericho is the person behind the Cake add-in discoverer that is currently attempting to audit all of the Cake add-ins for compliance, if you like, with the best practices. So thank you for all that.
Yeah, so you can actually, if you look at pull request you will see one of the pull requests that the automation done is really cool, because he actually does one for additions, one for deletions, and one for updates.
Yes, so that's true. So let's actually have a look at that, and just to bring that up. So one of the things on the website is the add-ins, this list of add-ins. So at the minute, there's a manual process to keep all of these YAML files that generates all of this stuff in order. And so we ask kind of Cake maintainers who are creating an add-in to submit a YAML file, to fill it in, yada, yada, yada. So Jericho has been working on this process of discovering what add-ins are available, and also for updating via pull requests the content of those and keeping those in sync. So he's split that out now into 3 separate pull requests: one for additional YAML files since the last time it got audited, updates to YAML files for changes of repositories where the locations are, that sort of stuff, and then for removal of YAML files, maybe an add-in has been deprecated and so on. So that process is ongoing in the background.
And the reasoning was that when something changed, it can take more review, or if something adds, it often is more safe sometimes than when something changes, something like that. So it's easier for us to maintain. At the moment, there's a lot of add-ins that get added because we haven't kept up, or authors hasn't known about it. So this process now we're ironing out the kinks, but it will be, when this is up and running automated, it will be a lot fewer changes because it will be a daily thing. So we have a hump to get over at the moment, but it will be really good when that's in place. So he's done a stellar job there.
In terms of how that works, Brave Cobra, I don't know. I haven't been part of it. But yeah, certainly it's scanning you get for add-ins that start with the kind of the conventions behind Cake, which is kind of Cake dot and then the add-in name. But it's all open source. It's on GitHub, so you can go to github.com, Cake contrib, and then you can see in cake.addin discoverer, I think, is where all that's happening. And yeah, as Jericho's pointing out in the chat room there, that we kind of treat the source of truth in terms of add-ins are the ones that have been actually published to NuGet. So we're using that as the source for the YAML files now.
Yeah, and it makes sense because that's how we pull down. It could be that's how we pull down documentation of add-ins. So if they aren't on NuGet, we can't document them, and that's so it's a good source of truth to have, because if we don't have that, we don't have anything. Cool.
Okay, so getting back, so we're in Azure DevOps. Is that where you said you wanted to go?
Yeah, we can go there. We can check how far we got last time, so we can do a quick recap. So if we go to the build there, we can see so people.
Yep. So the build in Azure DevOps just now in the pipeline is It's a simple one, I think, in the minute. It's literally just 2 steps, I think, or 2 tasks. One which was to install the SDK, and one is to execute the build, which is...
Yeah. Yep. So that's essentially what... And if we bring up that cake script, we can do actually. You can see. So we just start cake with the target Azure DevOps.
You actually want me to run it?
No, you can just put it up in code so you can run through it. Because hopefully today we won't edit that one, but we will add a new script. Well, we will edit it a little bit, but not much.
Okay, so there's an entry task which is Azure DevOps. It's dependent on upload artifacts. Upload artifacts is dependent on zip artifacts, which is dependent on the build. So that's the YAM build up to that point. So that happens locally and elsewhere. But this zip artifacts takes all of the output of the YAM build, and then it attempts to upload it. So this TF build is a specific alias for Azure DevOps. So it's uploading the artifact.
Cake has notions of build system providers. So this TF build was like TFS was the old, what it's called. We're still called TF build internally. So before the rename.
So it's taking that zip file and uploading it to Azure DevOps, and then upload artifacts is then done. So that's the build process done. So if we look at a build that happened, then
if you look in the log, we can see historically.
Back to pipelines, and we look at one of these. So here's one that Kim did. We'll see an artifact somewhere on here.
Well, it should be in the one that's merged and not the PR build.
Oh, is that a PR build from... sorry, I didn't see that.
I think so. So if we see something that's...
Oh, so it was, sorry. So the one below it then.
Which means it actually worked because we check if it's PR or not, because we don't want to deploy those.
Yeah. So where's it? I see the artifact.
So you see... Yeah. So if you click on the... It should be an artifact...
I was expecting to see it in here.
Yeah, it's probably if you just see the execute cake script succeed. Let's see. Click on the Windows job or you know.
Oh, I see it now. I think. Yeah, it's here.
Oh, that's the log. It should be.
It should be there, right? It should be.
Yeah, I will see if I see it on my end. So let's see. Fancy the builds.
It's not off to a great start here on Azure.
Oh, well, probably. It's awesome. Let's see if it could be some. I actually see it. So it's something. Are you logged in?
Well, yeah.
There you are. Yeah, and you have full permission, so interesting.
Okay. So let's what's the little padlock here for? Is that a 10 build?
So if you see that's all the merge. Oh, I think the padlock is because it has a release, so you can't delete it. So it's because if I log in, I see artifacts.
Well, I'm sure you do. We need to figure this out because you've got too many permissions compared to at least one other person in the team. So we need to figure that out.
But you added it, so it's interesting. Yeah. I can see if there's something.
We need to take that offline.
Oh yeah, we can see if because you're a project administrator, you can't be anything more than that. But let's see.
So one of the questions in the chat room is regarding why building on all OSs. So at the minute we're not.
Actually not. It was just we're actually helping to test some issues with IAM because Cake is a bit more pages than most. So we generally like something like 48,000 files or something like that. And that actually generate some issues on POSIX systems currently. So Wine works just fine with most sites, but as Cake is a bit extreme because we document a couple of hundred add-ins and things like that. We actually run out of file handles, so we need to dispose those. So it's just because we helped Dave test those things.
Gotcha.
So sometimes like cross-platform can have some side effects that you didn't think of. So that's why there will be. There's only one that does the publishing and the artifacting.
Okay.
Like that. Cool. So let's see if I can see your permissions to see if there's something.
Well, I wouldn't worry about that just now. Let's take the permissions issue offline because it's not the first time we've seen issues with that. Let's not get sidetracked.
I see it's there. It's a zip file. It's called artifacts. So that's it. So what we are going to do today is that we actually want to add one more cake file in the repository. That's because we want to deploy with the cake, so we can actually do that locally. And
so that's the thing that we tried to do last time on my machine and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Correct?
So I don't know if we So I'll call it deploy.cake.
Yep.
And like I said before that we shouldn't do much in build.cake, but what we will do in that is that we will actually ship this script as part of the artifacts. If we let's see here, I'm going to there, and we will upload artifact and essentially the same. I think will be website and comma and the deploy cake file. So we will add that in the top too.
So in here, I'm going to say deploy cake file and website is a third parameter as well. I'm guessing.
Let's see. I would see. I checked up the docs. It might be that we should call it something else, but I think you're right. I will just double check the docs, so we don't have to watch too much paint dry. Because we just need one build to succeed, and I will continue release so we have an artifact. Let's see if I go here.
So all I'm doing here, just for those of you who are following along, so this, all I'm doing here in my cake script is I'm defining a variable, and I've called it deploy cake file name, and the deploy.cake is at the root of the repository, so I'm just giving that deploy.cake. So what Matthias is suggesting is that as part of this build, in addition to uploading the zip file that is the generated artifact from YAM, we'll also upload the deploy.cake itself, so we can then use that as part of the release pipeline for actually publishing the website.
Yeah. So like when we come to like the release is actually it's like a build but on a different tab in Azure DevOps in a way. So it's the same kind of engine, but we don't have the repository. We have the artifact that comes in, and we now will have the deploy.cake, which will be the recipe how we're going to do the deployment.
Yep.
So we can. It looks right. Correct this way. So it's correct because at first it's website and then it's the artifact name. So that's correct. So it will be in the same artifact that's downloaded to Azure. So it looks great. So in here we will do stuff, but for now we can just add a task called deploy or something.
Yeah.
And we can also and then add a run deploy. Run target, I mean. So we can do that.
It's okay. I was with you. Don't worry.
I don't worry.
I got you.
So now we can just because you're on the develop branch now, so you can just push this and see if it works.
With nothing in it?
Well, we can just add these files because we can start on we can say hello, but nothing will. We haven't changed the release yet, so nothing will trigger it. But we want to see that this file gets added to.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So there was a question. While I'm doing that, I'm going to do a commit here. You can answer the question from the chat room from Brave Cobra regarding deploy config.
Yeah, so deploy config is something that will stay in the pipeline. So that's something we're configuring. So deploy, like a release pipeline in Azure DevOps has const.secrets, and you can also for each stage use those secrets. We will use environment variables for this later on. But we're just going to see, before we go too far, we're going to see if we can get it to download and execute the script, and that is in the artifact.
I'm just making sure I haven't got any syntax errors before I do anything. I don't think it's...
You should, like deploy your cake, you should be able to run because it doesn't do anything. So
I think we're good. I think we're good.
Yeah, so good. Because if you just
I'm all in. I'm all in. It's done.
So today we will YOLO a bit, so that, but it's
okay,
what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm doing a bit. If I'm seeing this in the background, I'm configuring up those secrets so we can use them in the release pipeline, just so we have that prepared. Just last time we had to cut off the stream a couple of times to do secrets. I'm preparing those so those are in place. Let's see. But hopefully we'll see, because that takes a couple of minutes to do the pipeline, so we're going to see a build. So when the build succeeds, hopefully we'll see an artifact, and that will have also the deploy.cake file.
So the build is a way to happen. The YAM build itself has actually been significantly improved in terms of speed, because we bumped to the latest version of YAM. So Dave Glick, the creator of YAM, actually made lots of performance improvements in YAM itself. So by bumping the cake build to use that, we've actually seen a significant improvement on that itself, let alone anything else.
And just going to .NET Core 2.1 versus the .NET Framework has done a lot of improvements in I/O and things like that. So, and when Trio it will be even more. So there's a lot of performance you get just by switching to .NET Core, and we have shaved minutes of the build. And that was something like we went through the last stream. I switched from using NuGet.exe to fetching the add-ins to actually do some custom code there, and that shaved 6 minutes of the build too. So hopefully we will get we have a turnaround when it was its worst, like 20 minutes, and that's really annoying when you want to see code chip or get something out. And we will also save time when the build is done, because, as I said before, we've only built it once when we're done here, before we build it both to the master and both to end develop.
So I was attempting to answer the question from Brave Cobra there in the chat room regarding, is there a syntax check? I no is the answer. So the workaround that you have there for show description, probably there is a no op you can do. You could use that one as well. But what I was trying to show you there was the cake.bakery add-in for running within Visual Studio Code that gives you IntelliSense support and also syntax checking. So this should have resulted in a red squiggly, but I don't know why it's not picking that up, because so yeah, Kim, that's what I was trying to show in here, but it doesn't seem to be working for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm just going to see if there's any sort of output from OmniSharp to say why it's not finding it. This dot run. Oh, it's saying cake's not installed. Oh, hold on. That's maybe a simple fix. Hold on. Let me just run this at least once. Let me run this. I think that's all that's necessary. Because I hadn't actually resolved cake, it wasn't able to find it. So let me run this build, and then I should be able to show you what I think I want to show you, which is IntelliSense and syntax highlighting within VS Code. So let's see if that works. So did that build complete while we're here? It's still at the render API section, so it's been running for about 2.5 minutes.
It takes about 6 minutes or something to complete now.
In total now? Yeah, 6 minutes total.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something.
Cool. All right. Okay. So you already use. So Brave Cobra is in chat room saying he's already using the Cake.Bakery. So is that not providing enough, or doesn't do what you wanted to do, or why the requirement for kind of a compilation step, if you like, without running anything?
I mean, it should certainly be possible, but because we have a dry run execution step.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the no op essentially. Yeah.
So no op should probably be the closest one, because that will compile the script, but not. The problem is sometimes that it will compile it, but it won't execute run target. But if you execute any code, like in your variable definitions, that will be executed. So that's why you should move initialize stuff into the setup context. And we'll probably do that today in a deploy cake, because we're like a year or two ago now, because time flies, but we have added a type context to cake, which means you can return a variable from the setup context, and that will be available for all tasks later on.
So I think what you need then, Brave Cobra, is a Git hook, so that before the commit goes in and before the push happens, you could run build.ps1 with a no op flag to see if that works before doing it.
Yeah. So and we have the what's a command to do stand still, but we can actually run a task without dependencies. You can specify. So you could, if you have a default task, you can specify that. You can probably, if you run the help, it's escaping me now what that's. If you do, it's hyphen.
So I just got a notification saying that the build succeeded.
Yeah. And probably every. It's in tools. So
it didn't install it globally, did it?
No, it's globally. We just installed it in the repository. I mean, just do help -- help. So we have the exclusive command there. So you could potentially, if you have an empty default task or something that's just dependent on something else, if you're not exclusive, you'll just run that.
Yeah.
And now it's actually the new version is deployed to. So if you see, we have a new release. Cake build. It won't do much, but it's deployed.
So over in Azure DevOps, we have a new release.
Yeah.
And in that release, we put it to the development environment, but not to the production environment that we have.
Yeah.
And so this being green here means that it's shipped to.
Yeah, it's shipped.
So this site that's running here on develop.cakebuild.net is now that version that's just been pushed, correct?
Correct. So if we go into this, we can see the logs there. So you can just go to logs. We can do stuff for redeploy. And currently you see that we do an app service deploy. We want to replace that the whole with a cake script instead. So that we execute the deploy.cake.
Yep.
And we also want to remove the command line script. So that's what we are.
So can I actually see this file here? No, it doesn't look like I can.
For some reason you don't, because it should be up in the right corner.
But I'm assuming on your machine you can see a deploy.cake in that file.
I can see artifacts. So there's some permission. Okay, I can, if we, which is, I can send you a screenshot. You can observe it.
Sure.
So let's see if you do, or I can share my. Let's see here. If I do it, delay.
Hold on, Maurice is saying he saw the artifacts.
Yeah, it should be because I see it publicly, so it's interesting. It could be some setting on your account too. If you click down on your account, do you have any preview feed? No, there it is. You see it now.
Where? Artifacts.
Yeah.
There we go.
So there's the website artifacts, and here we will see hopefully a zip file and deploy cake. Cool. So that works. Cool.
Bizarre. Okay, thank you, Maurice, for pointing that out.
So yeah, there was something in there. So that's so now we have something. So we know that was deployed. What we want to change now is we want to go to the release and we want to add some caker instead. So we will temporarily break the the deployment.
Temporarily, I like
temporary. It. Yeah.
So magic.
So here you can to go into release back to the previous. You were correct. Oh, sorry. Edit there. And then we have the 2 tasks on deployment.
Let's
see. So currently we have a command line script. I don't know what.
We were checking the output directory structure.
Yeah, so we can keep that because that's always a good debug thing. So what we want to do is you can right click on that and just disable it for now. No, not that one. The deploy, because we don't want to deploy using some task there, and add a new command line script. Perfect. And there's some typing now. I think I can send you on the chat, so or I can send it, so you don't have to get that error. I'll send you some. I can send you on the Zoom. Is this probably?
Zoom will work. Yes.
Sent there.
So what you put into what we're doing here is running the installation of the .NET Global tool that is Cake, and then we're using the .NET Cake command to run the deploy.cake file that we have just added as an artifact, and I'm assuming that this environment variable here will resolve to the folder that everything is run from.
Exactly. So the artifacts has a notion of like a primary, because they recently changed artifacts, so it will actually automatically download the pipeline artifacts now, and it will assign that name. So it will have different names for each pipeline, but by using this variable, we will have the same name everywhere. So if someone will want to, can just copy this, and it will work.
So there's sorry to interrupt. There's a question, and there's a couple of questions in the chat room we need to address. The first one is the last one, which is not pinning the tool version. Normally, that is our guideline. So almost universally across the board, you will hear everyone in the Cake team say, pin your Cake version, pin your Cake add-ins, your tools, your modules, everything. Yeah. We fly in the face of that. We don't do that because we want to know when things are broken. So if we break something, we want to know about it first. So don't copy us. Don't ever copy what we do, because No. That's the answer.
So essentially, this is like we build Cake with the site's always built for the latest version of Cake. So in this case, but if you want to pin the version, you will just add -- version equals and the version you want to pin, and then you're gone. And preferably we use that as a variable, so you can always. But at the moment we want to use the latest.
And
so
the second question there is for you, I think, Matthias, which is, should you split build, test, publish in the pipeline into different steps? Is there benefits to that? I can only see one Cake execute that does pretty much all best practices, ?
Yeah, so what we're doing here, actually we have split it in 2 parts. So the build will only generate an artifact. And the artifact is the website as a zip file. And this, before we did it within the same script, like we still we will have to clean out the script, but the AppWare parts are still there. And then we actually did the build and release in the same script. Here we'll do the build once and have the same artifact, and we will release it to different stages. And here we have added a develop stage, and we'll later on do a production stage with the same. So we can probably do a save here. And then do the same for if you go to the the pipeline. If you go back to the left there, no, up and right. But with tasks there, we have a pipeline, so we can also do the production of the same.
This one here, this pipeline.
Yeah, you have the production. So production, and because this currently doesn't do anything, so we can do the same, a command line task. And basically, essentially, the command line task just does what it says. So this will actually work both on Mac or Linux or Windows. Because it will run the cmd.exe on Windows and will run a bash on. And that's one of the advantages with using .NET, that like the .NET Global tool, the bootstrapping is really easy in that part.
Okay.
So we can save that. So I think we should trigger a new release to see if develop does something. So if you go to releases, we have now hopefully saved our definition and do create a release. And this should be really quickly because it should just install Cake. And that's correct. Oh, now you unchecked it. We want to trigger the delta. Yeah, perfect.
Why would it let me uncheck? Okay, hold on.
Well, sometimes you can actually have all kind of nice things.
Okay.
Like you can release gates and things. So here you can see the source. So actually, like build_cake will be the artifact directory.
And this is the build number for the build. It just it is. Okay.
So
there's no YM build at this point. The YM build has executed. It has generated the zip file, and all we're going to do is now run essentially that deploy.cake file that has nothing in it. But it will take the zip file from the artifact and do something with it. And that part we haven't done yet.
Correct. So hopefully we will see some hello text from something here.
Yep. So I'm assuming that this is going to magically update with, or maybe I have to click on that, release 10. It's
and
queued.
you can click and click logs there.
So I had a question there. So if we wanted to, could we hook up that release definition to a Cake Docker image that already had the Cake tool installed? Would that make sense?
I think it wouldn't, because it would just take time. Because this isn't the Cake build. This is a really simple script. There's pulling a Docker image is pretty substantial because you will pulling down gigabytes. Pulling down the Cake tool is just a couple megabytes.
Fair point.
So that's why you will probably in the build step, but in the release we just want to orchestrate with Cake. We won't use any SDKs, or basically we'll use an add-in. Is basically what we do.
Okay. So here we see it installing Cake.tool. It's installing the latest version, even though we didn't specify it. It's pulling down the latest version, which is 0.33. And then in theory, we should see the output, which was an information step that I added, which was hi from Azure release pipeline.
Yeah. And one thing that oh, cool. It's done.
Hi from Azure Release Pipeline. So
isn't that
you
cool?
can see that. Zoom in so that everybody can see that we're not cheating. So there's the hi from Azure Release Pipeline. Okay.
Yeah. So now we have, like, on each release, we will execute a cake script. And we want that. So now we need to go to back to deploy.cake and actually do something.
So back in the deploy.cake. So you're saying I have to remove my information step, unfortunately.
Yeah. So what I think we should do first, or what I'll see which we will add an add-in called cake kudo client, and we'll actually pin the version because that's it's 09. I wrote it myself, so I should know what it is. I think it's 09 or 01.
It's 08.
Yeah, 08. Yeah, so it's 08. I was rolling 08. Perfect.
Oh, I've done that again. This happened to me last time. This is so annoying. There we go. Deploy.cake.
Yeah, so there it is. And we will actually also do one more thing. We will add, and I will explain later, an add-in called, this isn't an add-in, but called Poly. I think it's 710 that is the latest there.
So you want to as an add-in? Yeah.
Because what people don't know is that add-ins are essentially just .NET assemblies. Mm-hmm. So we can load any .NET assembly from. So just pick the latest.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So now we have that. I will explain later why we'll have that. So now we'll have Poly is like a transient fault handling thing, so we'll be able to retry things nicely in our .NET code without doing code. And we have the cake kudo client, which is actually like talking from a cake script to an Azure website. There's also like cake kudo thing, but that's when you're running something on the website.
Okay.
So now we want to do something like a setup task.
So you want a new task?
Yeah, well, the setup, because we want to set up the whole.
So would that not be the actual setup and teardown, or?
No, I mean, yeah. So actually, like a setup.
So not a task.
Yeah, because not a task, but setup.
Okay, hold on. I don't know what the.
We get. I can probably. We can.
It's okay. I can borrow it.
If you want to. I have some code I can just send you, so we can explain it maybe.
Sure.
Because then we will. So I can send on Zoom, so it's a bit of boilerplate because we don't want it done. No, it's almost. Where did it go?
I think I only got some of it.
Yeah, I will send the rest soon. So when it's how far do we go in that chat? And if it starts with it's a switch, and that comes from the first switch. Cool. Then I will send the rest. Let's see how far we get from the Zoom. Oh, let's see how it formats it. Let's see. I can do just. Yes. So we got to that base UI, and we're missing. Rest goes to chat. Almost.
Is it restricting how much you can send at once?
Yeah, actually, it seems that Zoom is restricting how much I can send at once. So,
interesting.
And how far do we get there?
You've
get
got
to that.
to kudu publish variables.
It's just 4 more rows. I will kill it. So, and we'll need some. Oh, cool. Okay. So if we go to the beginning here, we have a setup task. What you usually don't see is those generics. And that means that this setup will return a deployment. Then on the next step we start we had, I don't know if it was called output zip, so we'll see if it's what we do call the website. You can see that in the build cake. Oh. On the next on previous tab, we call it something else probably. Output zip, so that's correct. So what we'll do is that we will find the artifact because Azure Artifact will download that automatically, and we will output that we found it. Mm-hmm. Then the KQ client will configure that to a set of environment variables, and this looks a bit but this is just because I want to be able to support multiple sites. So we just find all environment variables that start with these keys. And we will just parse those out into deployment targets. So we filter out those, and then we will parse those out and return those as a deployment target. And I will send you that class so you can paste that in later. And then we will just log how many deployment targets we found and return the result of that. So if I send a zoom. Let's go back. So I'll send a zoom deployment target class and the deployment. There.
Okay.
So the deployment will be the result of the setup. And we will also have using poly a default retry policy, which would be this will do 5 tries and then do an expansion and so back off. So it will increase the number of attempts. I will explain this later, and then all the zip file path will contain which the output is and an array of the deployment targets. Mm-hmm. So I think there's only one thing we're missing on the ups, and then we need a using for the poly namespace on the top.
So the question from Brave Cobra is, why is this in the setup phase and not as the first task?
Because if you use it in a setup task, we'll be able to use it in all tasks, and we will display that later. So above the setup there, we need a using, because one thing that's different from if you load any .NET assembly, we won't automatically import the namespaces, so we need to be using poly, just poly and a semicolon. I will send some.
So what you're referring to here, though, is just to clarify that a little bit. So this setup deployment is really using one of the originally new functionality, which is the type context that's available in Cake. So by doing this in the setup phase, whatever's returned here can then be passed into any subsequent task. So the declaration of this task will change slightly, but the output of that deployment phase. Let's just put it in while we're talking. So Matthias has just copied this in. So if I do this then does the action of the task, but it takes as the input the output from the setup. And that can be shared and manipulated within each task for then any subsequent tasks. So it's a way of sharing context across the tasks within your Cake script.
Yeah, and as it's just a task, you can do if you see I only have getters, so the state is immutable of this deployment, but you can also have things like you mutate the state from one task to another. So it's a really nice way to be able to share state. Yeah. so the chef is prepared because we don't want as much failures as last stream. But essentially this does is that we do actually a parallel for each. We will actually deploy. So if there's multiple targets to deploy to, we will do a parallel for each. And then we'll output some logs on each parallel for each. We're deploying to the zip file to this target. And then you see the little line there where it says deployment retry policy exit. That is actually where we'll try through the Kudu client add-in. It will actually try to zip deploy it, and if it fails, it would do 5 retries.
Yep.
And actually, I've tried it, so it works really nice. So when I tried this script just earlier, because of what it was, I deployed to the same target multiple times. And then Azure gets really confused when you do parallel deployments to the same site. But I actually did get all deployments through because it did the retry. So this is something called transient vault, because sometimes things doesn't work, and then you just want to retry them. So will retry 5 times at least. So usually it should work on the first time, but if not. So
let me just recap that a little bit for my own sanity. Mm-hmm. So when we do a check into the develop branch, we're currently pushing to only a single Azure website, and that's what's hosted at develop.cakebuild.net. But when we publish or commit into the master branch, we're actually deploying to 3 websites, correct? Because we have them geolocated across the globe. So am I right in saying that this is what this deployment target is? So that's why we want to have a parallel for each, because we have 3 destinations for that website.
Yeah. So it's something we should talk from the beginning. We told it last stream, but not now. So currently we have in the West US, in East US, and North Europe. Mm-hmm. So we have both for redundancy and to be closer to the people that serves into a page. So for development, it's just 1 target, but we want to deploy them. And one kind of cool thing is that this will do in parallel. So it's essentially just we need to figure out. And here we just do environment variables, and we need to add these. But we can just add this because this will actually not, if we've done it right, it should just say it didn't find any target to deploy to. So we can just try to push this.
So let me just finish my internal thought processes that are going on here right now. So this deployment targets, based on the environment variables that are configured within the release pipeline, can either have 1. So we'll have 1 in the development part of the pipeline, and we'll have 3 sets of environment variables that relate to 3 deployment targets, which are the 3 Azure regions that you spoke about just now, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. So all makes sense in my head now.
Yeah.
There's a question, how to prevent an incomplete rollout then, if one fails after 5 retries?
Yeah. Currently, we don't handle that. So we only roll forward. So we'll trigger a new release, I think. We have currently set up so we get Slack notifications when each region gets deployed, or if it would fail, we would not. So we're optimistic here at this moment, but we can just so we added something to now deploy kick actually does something, and hopefully it fails. But what one should do in that case is actually the release will fail, then we can trigger something if the release fails, like rollback. Azure DevOps helps. Probably we should release the previous or something like that. But
sorry, what?
But one can do a policy like if a release fails, you can roll forward or roll back to previous. But in this, we won't keep it simple.
But at this point as well, so this deployment that we're potentially doing, we have set it up so that there is a automated deployment on the development phase, but it's a manual portion on the master. So if we break anything, which we did last week, and we just had a white screen here, it would only ever affect at the minute develop.cakebuild.net because of the way that we've segregated out those websites.
Yeah, correct.
So again, this will now trigger a build, so we will have to wait that few minutes because that's a change to the source code. So even though we haven't changed any of the source code,
deploy cake has changed, so we need that.
But that's not part of the build, is what I mean. So the side effect of having the deploy.cake as an artifact of the build means that we have to go through the build process at the minute. So we will have that 6 minutes of build for the YAM portion to then upload the deploy.cake as an artifact, which can then be put to the release pipeline, which that part should happen automatically. Yes?
Yeah, correct. And like what we could do in the future, like we could have the deployment essentially be empty and just fetch a recipe, but also it's kind of nice to see what was actually executed, because this will mean that if we rerun the deployment, it will be the same each time. The only thing that isn't the same is the things like the configuration, and that's something we can actually do now while we're waiting. So if you go into the release, because currently when it executes the release, or we might have be quick enough. So if you go to variables here, actually where you are,
variables,
you will see that I have added a few here, and these won't actually be sent as variables. These are variables that are tied to the pipeline, and I added examples so you can just see how it looks. Those examples there. So that's essentially. If you go to the Azure portal, I can see where you can show where you fetch this. So if you go into any site, you can just show the icon. There's an download publishing profile here icon. When it's downloading the blade.
I'm looking
on the website. You're actually on a resource group now. So if you go
the web app. Yep.
On any, that work. And that's actually something we need to also that we did last time. So we actually need to disconnect. We can like the old Git deployment before we go live. So here, So there we have a get publishing profile. That will give you an XML file, and that will contain the URI, the password, and the username. So if you go back to the release there, you see here like the base URI and the password and the username variable. Yeah. So here you see what actions were done, but because I've added one for each of the targets. So it's one for North Europe, one for Central US, and one for West US. And if you go
scroll through one as well.
So if you scroll to the right in this window, you will actually see which. So I actually limited to the scope of the stage. So the development variables are only available to the development stage. So
gotcha.
So if you run something in the development stage, they will never, the automated build can never. So if someone like got an like bad code and we merged it, that wouldn't output the variables there.
So this release is everything, every task within the overall release. Is what this one is.
If you set release, then it will be available for everyone. So all stages. So here we have scoped the production for production, so they will be limited, only available to you there. You can also do things as variable groups and go, but we will go simple here now, because this is something that any open source project using YAM could use, because this is free. Azure DevOps is free and the release is free. So this is release.
Brave Cobra in the chat room has brought up an interesting point that it was actually going through my head as well, is that this is actually quite similar to Octopus, if anyone's used Octopus Deploy. Similar sort of breakup and scoping of variables and etc. It definitely seems similar to that.
Yeah, and you could do it even better with the variables, but now I'll keep it simple. So it's just key value. So these, if we go to like these variables, we need to then add them to the stage. So if we go back to where we had the release and edit that definition, the pipeline, you can click on the pipeline and there you will get there too, I think. So we go to the tasks there. It won't expose secrets by default to tasks, which is kind of nice. You need to invoke them. So you have environment variables there.
I do.
And what we want to I think I can do some templating so we can let's see some If I go to check variables on something else, let's go back. So, so we want actually to use the same name. So you can actually do, if you do the variables in a new tab, like just do a tab click or something, open the variables in a new tab in browser. Let's right click, because then we can go quicker.
No.
Or is it? No. Then we duplicate. It's all this JavaScript. It was easier when it's just links. So if you click variables, we'll have. Yeah. So we have those listed. So we actually want to copy the name, so we have the same name, because this is what we prepare the create script. So this is developed, so we'll have the base URI.
So hold on. So we've created these pipeline variables, but now we're going to create environment variables with a name that then link to these pipeline variables.
Correct.
So they could be called Bob, it could be called Bill, but behind the scenes they would use this thing.
Yeah, so just copy that.
All of it? Okay.
Yeah, all of it.
Copy.
So if you go in here and environment variables, you can add.
Add. With a name.
And for the value, accessing like values anywhere, it's just like you see the release primary artifacts. So you actually do a $ parenthesis.
$ parentheses.
Paste in a name and end parenthesis.
Oh, so I can't browse for it at the minute?
No, because it's a secret. So you can't get it. So yes, that.
But I would have naively, I would have thought the fact that we had scoped these to be develop, I would have thought under this development task, I would have been able to see a drop down with 3 variables in there. Yeah. But no.
No, because you can actually enter any value here. Because you want something like one you should actually to speed up things. I'll paste in the chat. We should add these two just to edit. And I sent you on the Zoom.
Yeah, I saw that. I'll do the 3 that we need first and then come back to those ones. So you're saying that if I do this and then I do $, oh, I'm not in there. $ parentheses, that one.
Yeah.
And then the last one, which is the username.
Yeah.
No, it's close. We'll run with it. Add kudu. Oh, come on. Kudu. $ kudu. That one. Okay.
Yeah.
And the ones that you've added in are.
So
this one.
Not like one thing like.
Do
Actually,
I need to give it a value?
Just give it 1. So one thing when you run the .NET CLI tool, it will actually, and you can also add one there. I said it will do the first time setup. So it will, the tool took a bit of time. It will actually like fetch some NuGet packages and templates, which is good if you're going to do a build, but we're just going to execute the .NET tool. So this will actually opt out of sending telemetry data, and it will opt out of the first time experience where it's primes templates and .NET things we not going to use. So we can just. So now we'll probably be fine. So if you save this, I don't know how the build, if the build is all finished or not. But...
I just got a notification saying something failed. So let's see what happened, shall we? So the YOLO build succeeded, I think. Yeah. And the release associated with that build failed in development.
But it could be that because something else. Let's see. Why it failed.
Response code do not initiate. 1 or more errors occurred. Indicate 401 unauthorized.
So how many? Oh, cool. This could be. We weren't done with the variables, so it could be something.
I think so. So that's what Maurice is saying.
But actually, it's
as
cool
well.
How it works. So if we can just actually do probably a redeploy, or we can do a new release. So it's the same. Just do so we don't. Sometimes it's cached things, so we just do a new release with the same.
So create a release on there for 551. Do it.
and then you click on the link release 12. We haven't configured, you can actually configure all those release names and things that follows, but click on logs. So the first thing, it downloads the artifact, and now it will be a little bit quicker because it won't do the priming of the SDK, which is that's the first time it runs. This is less of an issue now when we use the default, but it's more of an issue when you can actually say to Azure Dev Pipeline which version of the SDK it will use. So that will save time. So I think we're actually seeing sometimes it doesn't the log, but we'll see. It's running, cool.
Deploy.
So the interesting part is that I find 2 targets. So I wonder if we had some.
So there's the 5 poly retries. Is that what I'm seeing there?
Yeah, but that's because it's find 2 targets. So I'm going to see if we had any other variables declared. Because 1 cake develop succeeded. So I wonder if the example.
When you say 1 cake develop succeeded, what does that mean?
I actually think it's now changed, so we actually get the variables. Oh, cool. Oh, it's because it's not a secret. This is the example website. That's what's failing.
So no, you're going to have to catch me up here. So what are you talking about now?
I think the 2 deployments. One is the example website. You see their example.
Well, so I'm seeing example, but I don't understand how that's getting there, because what you said was that those variables.
Yeah, but it's not a secret, so that's why it gets automatically as a variable.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so this is I'm Azure noob here. Let's slow down a little bit. So you're saying here that any variable that's added as a pipeline variable that isn't marked as a secret will automatically go through into the release task. Yes. But anything that's added as a secret variable will not automatically come through to the task. You have to add it explicitly as an environment variable.
Yeah, so I will remove it. So we can remove the sample ones because we don't. So I can just to show.
So you've done that, or I should do that just now?
Yeah, you can do that.
So I'm going to delete this example one.
Yeah.
I'm going to delete. Hold on. I'm going to delete this example one, and I'm going to delete this example one.
Yeah, so now we learned something.
And the question from Brave Cobra is that regardless of scope, so those ones had
release
scope, so there'd be all of them.
So the release scope is forever. Oh, cool. We have to refresh.
Sure, why not? Is that
I'll just leave. So the example variable was on the release scope, and release scope gets for everyone. So now you set it and.
So now I go back to variables. So now I can delete this. So example delete, example delete, example delete, and save. Sure.
So let's see.
We should run that again, or we need a new release?
So we can see the log because it looks like actually the development failed, or did it? Oh, there's a new release.
So release 12 was the one that we created.
Yeah.
So in the logs, it had an exit with 1. So this is the one that had both an example and a develop.
But we have 10 failures, so we should only have 1 failure if it was correct. So it could be that I will check the. So if we check the variables, have we copy pasted them correct?
I thought I did.
You probably did. So it could be that I copy pasted wrong.
I can do lots of things, and I think copy paste is one of them. I think. Let me check. I can't remember where I get to it now. So this is.
Yeah, you should go just. This is the release. So edit pipeline.
Oh, okay, hold on. I still don't know my way around Azure at all.
No.
Edit.
Yeah. So there's a release and there's a
here.
Yeah.
Here.
And if you see the
variables.
if we so we have the base URI, password, and we have username. So that looks good. So I'll check the variables.
I do not know what you're talking about, Kim. I don't know what you're talking about. If it's not recorded, it didn't happen. That looks good to me.
Yeah, that looks good. So I will just see, because it could be that I copy-pasted wrong before when I added the secrets. So let's see. If we go to...
If there's no clip, it didn't happen.
You can clip retroactively.
Shh, don't.
It's like the humble thing, like, I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong, but it hasn't happened yet.
I need proof.
So let's see. It found probably like you could, for fun, create a new release now, and it should just be one and not 2 as before. And I will.
Okay, so let's prove that out. So let's do create release. Create.
And I'll see. It's 5 stars. It looked like quite possible. Let's see if I see the.
So the point that Maurice is making in the chat room there is that if you do create a clip on Twitch, it has some pseudo random name generator for the actual clip name, and let's just say it comes up with some interesting URLs. Maurice, I created a clip that I sent. It was about Maurice, I think. I created a clip, and I think he thought I was taking the mick out of him because of the name of the clip that was created, but I really wasn't. It was just the random name that Twitch generated. I can't remember what it said.
So let's see, and the base URI is that. So I'm just re-entering the secrets to see if hopefully it was.
So we've only got one deployment target this time, which is cake build develop.
Yeah. I haven't saved anything yet, so it should still fail. Oh, it could be. Let's see, there. Let's see. And
so yeah, I see Maurice found it at the same time as I did it. So they created a clip with aggressive Swiss wolf dat boy. So make of that what you will. But yeah, it's a little bit bizarre.
Yeah. So this is the same. So we can just I think cancel this one and see if we do. But actually, at least we see that we should probably not do a retry of 4.1, so we can that's a future improvement. In Poly, we can do like circuit breaker patterns with certain exception types and things like that. So.
Okay. So you're saying if we could have a circuit breaker is what you're saying if it came back with an explicit 401 unauthorized, rather than retry it 5 times because it's going to fail each time, we could just break out with that circuit. Okay, that makes sense.
So that's like if you can just we can create a new release and go there, and we'll wait after we see. Hopefully, I got the variables right, or this will be boring. So click on the 14 and logs.
Yeah.
So while that's running, we can bring up code. That's right. Deploy cake. You can, if you go to the bottom where I have the deployment in this file in the bottom, or where do you have the deployment? Do you add on the top the classes?
So the classes are right here.
Yeah, cool. So if you see there's the policy. And currently it handles all exceptions, but you can actually add one more or combine these. Mm-hmm. So you can do, if it was an HTTP, like unauthorized exception or HTTP exception or something, you can do custom code for that. Mm-hmm. So then we can do like circuit breaker, like just don't retry, or you can do a lot of things.
Gotcha.
We can go back to release and see if it does something. So
it's taking longer to fail this time, I think.
Yeah, that's a good sign. And it's also a good sign if you had the wrong password that was deployed.
But no, just to clarify, Maurice, I don't hate you in any way, shape, or form. But I could see how you might have thought that with a name like Aggressive Swiss Wolf Dat Boy. But no, not at all.
That's almost like they changed a bit, but like the container naming Stocker did in the beginning. They had like some really weird names. Now it's just squids.
Let's just see the name of the the clip that Maurice created for me, and he created one called a beast refined woodcock packet basket. So I don't know what I'm trying to say there, Maurice. Did I see the wink there? I did. Yes. Longer it fails sounds like you expect it to fail. No, it just means that's my way of saying I'm hopeful, Kim, that it's going to work this time. If something takes longer to fail, it's a good sign that it's going to work.
It's actually uploading things.
Yeah, because at this point, it's now... What's it actually doing at this point? It's actually taking that zip file and it's actually sending it. It's actually attempting the deployment. So it's taking that, however big that zip file is, and it's taking it, it's deploying it to Azure website. So in theory, Matthias, myself and you, should get some Slack notifications at this point.
Well, when it's done.
When it's done. So the last one in Slack was from 8:30, so it's a while ago.
But it's still running, so it's...
So we can wait for this. And in theory, if this works...
Then we'll go to production.
I was going to say that would be the next logical step, correct?
Yeah. What we need to do in production is we need to actually... We have some slots that we won't be using anymore because we have deployment slots. Mm-hmm. It's taking a little bit too long, but that's probably the nature of the internet. It should be a little bit quicker, but...
Won't you get a broken site when you deploy? I'm not sure what you're referring to, Maurice.
Actually, there's deployed. Whoa, yes!
I just got a Slack notification.
So what this actually does is something called zip deploy. So it will actually mount the site as a zip file. So it will only be deployed if the deployment was successful. And that's something we need to address. So in the previous podcast, if you go to the Cake Develop site there we have on Azure, if you check on the settings there, application settings, we have somewhere. Oh, it's classic. It's an old. We've been on Azure for a while. There's a setting we set here to. Hopefully, we have. If you go down. So, we haven't. That's why it took a while. So we will set that. So that's probably why it took a while. So we'll add a setting called.
So this is another magic setting that you're pulling from some documented website.
Well, we can actually probably it's documented on the docs Microsoft.com. So. Let's see if we have the docs link. There it is. I will send it to so you don't have to Google it. So why it took so long now is actually because it unzipped on the target, and we don't want that. So we will actually we want to use a new feature of Azure App Service that's called Run from Package, and essentially. We will set that app setting to 1. I thought we did it last week, but yeah, to 1.
Is there a save or is that it done?
Yeah, up on the left.
Oh, I see it. Sorry. Save.
So, and then we can create a new release, and hopefully it will be quicker.
So let's just do a sanity check though. So over here, this took 3 minutes, 18 seconds. Yeah. So if we do another release, Matthias is saying that Maurice is saying that we did do that on the last show. I remember us looking at that document. I don't remember actually setting it, but
I think it could be that the whole when we switched to the Azure deployment task, it did something. But probably why it took time is because then it actually unzipped also. But if you set that setting to 1 or a URI, if you set it 1, it will be using the deployment API we use now. If you set the URI, it will actually deploy from that URI. So you can actually set deploy and have a zip file to some public URI with a token or something like that.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
And when it's deployed, it won't unzip, but will actually mount your like VV route as a read-only file system. And this is a cool part because we have a static site, so it's nothing that should change there. And it's also a security feature because then it becomes your VV route will become read-only, which is so it's good. And the big thing is if you have things like scaling, it will be a lot quicker because you won't need to copy a lot of files. It will just need to copy that zip file, which is a lot quicker. Gotcha. And that's one thing why it takes so long with the Git deployment, because it will do a delta and copy files and things like that. And actually, it won't break the site that people have because then now it's deployed, so that was a lot quicker.
So that's an overall time of 58 seconds, whereas the last one was over 3 minutes.
Yeah. So this actually deploys problem. So that's actually was difference between that's actually if you don't have that setting, it does the same thing as with the Git deployment. It will diff files and copy file for file. Now it will just copy a zip file and mount it.
Okay.
So this is why we also get that performance gain.
So there's a couple of other things in the chat room before we go too much further. Brave Cobra is asking blue-green deploy ? And no Swagger gen then. I'm not sure. I'll put behind it. I don't know what's been spoken about there, so I'm hoping you do. So over to you.
I don't know. So because actually, like the Cake website is read only. It's just a bunch of HTML files because the tool we're using, YM, just generates HTML files. So it's fairly simple. So now I think we should start with production, but we need to do some things before that. The same thing that we did the last stream. We need to disconnect the Git deployment from each. So if we go back to Azure Portal and we'll switch to your Azure subscription because that's where the production
that's in a different one, I think.
Switch direct. Yeah, and we go to Garia.
This one.
Yep.
So just to explain what's going on here, we have multiple MSDN subscriptions between the team here, which are allowed to use for the purposes of this open source project. So some of the website assets are on Mateus's MSDN subscription, so it takes advantage of the however many credits we get each month, and some of the other assets are my subscription, and then Patrick's and Martin's and all that.
Yeah, so there's part like one of the perks of being part of the foundation is that we get some free Azure.
Yeah.
So here we can see those websites, but we also, we can start from the beginning. So this is resource group, not website, but we can click down. So you can click on app services instead. App services. Yeah. And also, it's good practice to have like your development in one subscription, because if anything credentials should leak, there's contained to one subscription and not your production. So if you click here, we'll have deployment slots, which we actually will remove, so we'll save even more money. So currently, because the Git deployment takes time and the whole file copy takes time, as we saw, we have used a feature in Azure App Services called deployment slot, which essentially means it deploys, and when it's done, it swaps.
Yeah.
So it's like the site will be down for, and here you can actually do things like redirect parts of percent of sites. So we will actually, if you go to the Cake -master, which is the slot.
So Brave Cobra, that's essentially what we're using. So as part of the .NET Foundation, everyone in the Cake team gets an MSDN sub, which includes an Azure sub. So we get X amount of credits every month, and we share them across the team, across those subscriptions. So that's essentially what we get,
Yeah. So here we have, if you see the deployment center, if I'm not wrong, on the left menu.
Deployment center, yeah.
Yeah, I think they changed name a couple times for this. So here we will be hooked up to a Git repository, we'll see. And when it loads down, and we will actually disconnect that. So we don't want to deploy builds. Yeah.
So I'm going to click the disconnect button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Disconnect.
So the deployment slots, we didn't actually do anything with that. So should I have...
No, so we will clean up this later. But what we will do, because the zip deployments is so fast, and it actually does this underneath. So zip deployments, when you do the run from zip, will copy the zip file, and when it's done, it will just switch the group. So it's essentially the same. We could use it, but we will save some time here. So this will take a little time to disconnect.
Oh, so it's working. So I should go to the other ones and do the same?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, do the same. We could have deployed to the deployment slot, but we want it to be as quick as possible. We'll save time now.
Deployment center. So this will have
nothing because you're not on the slot. So the CI is on the slot.
See that? Hold on. That makes no sense.
Well, it's the CI like the Git deployments goes to the slot, and when it's done, it swaps to.
But this menu would suggest that this is a top level menu, but you're saying I have to click through into it to then click on deployment center.
Well, actually, like a deployment slot is just another Azure app, web app, but it's tied to the above one. So you can actually have multiple slots. So we could have, and that's where you can do like 80%, or if you want to do some kind of partial. So it's.
Okay. I shall trust you, Mr. Azure MVP.
Yeah, but so if you want to do things like if you want to just send 20% of the traffic to before you deploy or something, you can do that. But currently, we just do an auto swap when it's done.
Okay.
But we won't do any more.
So click on this one, and then I'm going to click on deployment center, and I'm going to disconnect the Git one that we've got there.
Yeah. When it's done. Classic.
Deployment center. So the other thing I wanted to mention or ask, so we also use Cloudflare for the website, so should we also be invalidating the cache on on Cloudflare when we do a new deployment?
Yeah, so we should do that. So that could be a future deployment, like improvement of the deploy.cake. Because that could be like once we deployed to all our targets, then we could have something that's called, because that's just a REST API call, so we could just do something. So that's exactly excellent point. That should be a good future improvement.
And the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, and maybe we'll come on to it. So while they're disconnecting.
So it was cancelled, so we can
only do one at a time. Oh,
I don't know, but I think we had the same with development. We had to do it 2 times before it worked.
Okay, so let's maybe just see if this is going to finish. Let's see if that one finishes, and then we'll. The other thing I was going to ask, so right now we have a automated release that when we check it into develop, that develop build succeeds, that creates the release and deploys to the development development environment. Right now, there's a manual promotion of that to the production environment. So that means that I would have to come into here to click this deploy button.
Yeah. So
I don't want to have to do that. I'm not going to do that.
So what we actually want to do because we don't want to develop. We actually have no, that failed too. We have to do it again. But I think last time we did it 2 times and then it worked. What we actually want to do is have a filter on the release, which we don't have now. So we can it was same as last time. 2 times as a charm apparently in Azure. It's a transient fault handling retry by right click.
deployment slots. I'm going to click on this master again, this one, and then I'm going to click on deployment center, and then I'm going to click disconnect.
Yeah. So I will continue using my Wi-Fi. Actually, I had some network issues.
That one's gone.
Yeah, that's good. So that worked. So then we go to. I think you actually, because it's reorders.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you taking the proverbial? Hold on. It doesn't even say which one it disconnected it from. Oh my goodness. Me and Azure are not friends right now. So this is the any.
But it's a lot. There's a lot less issues than last time, so that's good.
No, that's yeah. Let's look at it that way. So this is NE master deployment center. So there was NE, which I can't remember what that one's called now.
It's a Stockholm syndrome. It's less.
See that one's not there either.
Yeah. So then we do to the which part did we last was the.
So that was NE. UI was never a Microsoft strong point, according to Brave Cobra in the chat.
It's been.
It's an evolution, as I think is what we should refer to it
I mean,
as.
If we said it like in the beginning, we should we would never done it. So I think this So
deployment slot is this one.
Yeah, and then deployment center. Yeah. But when I agree about Windows 8. It was a bit of Fisher Price thing, almost like XP in the beginning. But now I like Windows 10. I kind of like it's works really good. So that's good too. Yeah. So then we have the W1, the West US. Yeah.
I see. I'm gonna go out there on a limb. I quite liked Windows 8. I had no problem with it whatsoever. None. I was quite happy with it.
Well, I'm kind of like I'm on the Insider program, and at times it's been really broken. I'm fascinated at how little of Windows needs to work for me to still be productive. Because as long as I can get to a command channel, like command line prompt or a task manager, I can usually at least start something. Because I'm a command line person, so like it's. I mean, if Explorer crashes, I can start a new one with a task manager. Just. So it could be that our work here is done. It was something.
Okay.
Yes. Go.
Right, I've done them all, and it says there's nothing there. Okay.
Yeah. So now we can trigger a production release. We have a.
So should I phone Patrick at this point and ask him if it's okay?
Nah. No, just deploy. Because hopefully this won't work, or it will. Let's see.
Okay, so at this point, this is us in our release. We have two tasks within that, two stages within that release. The development one has succeeded. So if I click on the deploy and the production one, it's going to do the exact same thing as what's just happened to development, but it's going to put it to those 3 additional deployment targets.
Yeah.
So
or if it doesn't, it's because we haven't set the variables. But let's see. Because then we'll see if we need the variables or not.
I'm going to click it. I'm going to click it.
Click deploy.
I'm going to click it.
And unlock.
I'm going to click it.
Do it.
Look at that. But in that, in here, we can do all sorts of things like say that multiple people have to approve it and all that sorts of things. So there's gates and all sorts of things you can go through, right?
Yeah, so we can set both things like manual approval, so people that have access to it. But you can also set things like call an API to get an approval.
Yeah.
And things like that. So it's really powerful. So we'll see now when it's.
Maurice has made a point that Maurice, you should type faster, Maurice. Application settings. We didn't set the variable on this environment for.
No, we didn't, and we shouldn't set it here because we need to set it on the non-deployment slot. So we need to go into those. So not here, but on the. We need to go up to app services where we have all the proper ones listed.
Up to here, app services?
Yeah, so now we will set the on the. Yeah. So because if you go to release now, it should probably not
hold on.
found any. I hope. But you can just set it to this. Run from package to 1.
Sorry, go and say that again. My phone was ringing and my audio in my head got taken over by the phone.
So yeah, we can check the release first.
Check the release. That's over here.
So it probably was really quick because it didn't find any deployments. Because as I said, the secrets aren't propagated.
Correct. So I see what you did there.
So that's correct. So what we can do now is set the run. If we go to the fabulous Microsoft Docs, I really like what the download docs, the last tab. We will have the setting to copy. So the run from package setting.
So you want this one?
Yes. So because it's good with the chat room pays attention and to the portal. Because I was actually trying to prove a point, and that I was right that the secrets doesn't. So the previous tab with the Azure portal.
This one?
Yeah. So before we do, and now we need to go into the NE, the US, and the WE app settings and set the package. So it's good that the chat room is paying attention.
So I'm going to go app settings for this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those have to be set individually on each app service that we're deploying to.
That's correct.
Okay, fine. So if we scroll down and go into this one.
There. Yeah.
And say that one and say a value of 1.
Yeah.
Okay, and then save.
And save. And then you can click on the next on the list.
This one.
And now the UI is kind of nice. Because it actually works. Have settings.
Hold on, I was catching up with the chat room.
Yeah.
Indeed, Kim, there was definitely some mixed signals going on there. My mum was phoning me. I've just ignored my mum in favor of the people in this chat room. So that is how dedicated to this website deployment I am. So I will phone my mum back when we're done. So
I'll tell you I was on the internet thingy.
I will say it was all the internet people's fault that I hung up on you.
So your mom doesn't watch Twitch? You need to change that.
I think she should know that I was in the middle of something. Yes, you make a very good point there.
Yeah, I mean, you sent the tweets, you did the thing. Yeah, I mean, she should totally subscribe to your channel. Like
she should. She was the first one there, so she was my first follower. So I think.
Yeah. But it's the whole the geek normal thing, did you see I actually deployed something and this it's no big deal. So now we've gone through the settings. Perfect. Now we need to get the secrets into
so I'm going to my variables now. This one.
Well, actually, go to the release because this is release 15.
Oh, okay, hold on.
So you can actually but I think you can just go to the pipeline. It has to.
So there's
an arrow
this one
or there because now we know where it is. So we go to the production and you see one task there. And run deploy the create task environment variables. And now we need to do some epic copy pasting here.
There's 9 of them, right?
Yeah, and here we probably can do some improvement because we could have some JSON file or something in a 1-line JSON file or something that would make that a one setting. But
so hold on.
The kind of nice thing about this, because it's environment variables, if we wanted to debug this locally, which is sometimes hard with something like YAML builds, because it's just environment variables, you can just set this in your you could just set this in our command line prompt. And we could debug the deploy.kek. So this is really nice because that's hard in other kind of release pipelines.
So this was $parentheses that, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a lot of variables if you check documentation, which you can use for things like you can get release number and you can have things like that. So. But if and all that are not secret, you get by default. So that's good too.
$, yada yada.
Yeah, it says succeed because that release did succeed, but it just didn't do anything. So that's great. And the cool thing is now we can use things like Cake Gitter or Cake Slack or things like that to actually, we could notify Gitter when there's a new website, and we just be Cake code. And anyone can actually now change our release process, like with a pull request, which is kind of cool. It's totally public. It's like like YAML, but nice, because we like C# here.
$sign parentheses. 5 down, 4 to go.
Well, this will be a lot easier in the near future because we'll actually be able to do the release definition as YAML, and then you can actually inherit variables and things.
So
like
that's
that. There's a space there. You forgot. Yes.
What? There's a space where? Oh, so there was. Look at that.
Yeah. I think it doesn't matter there, but I mean, right should be right. You buggered my OCD. So there's easier ways, and there's like in the future if we could do probably a better if you do like something like we have an extension for Cake with Azure DevOps. We could probably do things for to make things easier with all the things, and we could make this one. I think I will do some debugging. We could probably make this one setting and just have some fragment of JSON or something with these objects serialized.
I think I have some extra. Started some of these as well. This one has a space at the start, I think. Okay.
So this can be optimized. We just want to. But the nice thing about this is it's really easy to, if you want to debug this locally, you just add these semi variables and you can test it. The debug cake. So it's you just do the m:,
and in the value as well spotted, Maurice.
Yeah,
that one.
You should always code on Twitch because you get all this nice help.
Absolutely. Backseat coders, I love it. So
it's like play.
These are all straight line. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, sorry. Kim said the same thing. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go and save this.
Yeah, and we will create a new release because. So we had an error. Because now, and we will create a new release, and we can check the actually that we do a deployment directly to production. So create new release.
Create new release. The .NET variables you need to set. Oh, we should probably set those as well, should we? The CLI ones. And
we can do that because. Yeah, we can do.
So that was on here.
Yeah.
That was on here. That was on here. That was on here.
So the nice thing is, like, if you do like the YAML things in build, you can actually inherit variables and things like that. So you can save a lot of copy pasting and typing.
But that doesn't exist yet, as you said, on releases. But it does for builds.
It does for builds. But if I were a better man, it will exist soon. There's like this big developer conference in beginning of May called Build. I think we will see some new nice things. And this is why I can't show my actual pipelines at the moment. So if we create release, and then you can uncheck development and check production. Just YOLO. Can you check it? No, it's manual. Okay, then we just create it and we can deploy it.
Okay.
We don't need to. Doesn't matter. Now you trigger develop too.
Oh, that's not true, Kim. I just happened to glance up and I saw Maurice's one. It's maybe the gold coin that's beside his name. I don't know what it is.
It could be also like this, like in the GitHub chat we have a bot that ignores certain people. Essentially, maybe the same criteria. So this one will deploy to. You can just do a deploy on production, and we can wait for that.
Oh, so it doesn't actually need to be finished. I can trigger it.
You can try. Oh, it will just be queued, so you can just deploy it.
Interesting. Okay.
If we're YOLOing, we should YOLO all the way.
Sure, why not?
So check the logs now. There, it's waiting in queue. So you can go there.
On this one?
Yeah, because it took just like a minute to deploy. So. Oh, now it's deploying. So it's already done in the.
So if this works, it should find 3 deployment targets.
Yeah.
NE, US, and WE. And then if that works, we set those variables so it doesn't extract the zip file. So it'll just mount it and copy the files. They're all happening in parallel. So it shouldn't have that much additional overhead time.
Oh. And now you see I probably screwed something up.
Referee. So that could be the same issue that we had with the
Yeah. So
variables.
I will see the variables there if I
So we should get 15 entries this time round for 401 unauthorized.
Well, it depends. I could get some right. It's hard to say. I will.
Let's see. Let's chat room. Do we think Matthias is going to get any of these variables correct?
Let's do that.
We only need to live twice then. Absolutely brave Cobra, yes.
So I will do this.
I'm just going to read a text message from my mum while we're waiting for that to happen. Let's see what let's see what my mum's got to say.
Now we need a fancy. Oh, cool.
Okay, cool.
There's some UI thing, probably. So
everything is okay with my mum. It's all good. The phone call was.
Maybe was she calling about you missing the round from zip setting?
She sent me a follow-up text message saying you forgot that setting. Yeah, absolutely. Oh no, Patrick's here. We should start doing things properly. Hello, Patrick.
Well, we have broken the site, so we just need to get this right soon.
It's Patrick. It's all fine. There's nothing to worry about. These 401 unauthorized, they're fine. It's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. Oh dear. It's all Matthias's fault. If you check the Git history in the commit messages, you'll see that it was clearly Matthias's fault. In case anyone doesn't know, Patrick is the founder of Cake, and he's responsible for everything that happens with it nowadays. So we owe him a lot in terms of what Cake does and what we use it for now. So thank you for coming and joining in the stream. I appreciate it.
So I'll go to the.
So we will need a new release. I guess we could cancel this one, because it's up to 15 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh no, there's more than 15. There's more than 15. Did I count that wrong? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it's away now. Never mind. It's failed. Oh, don't say that, Maurice. Are you taking the proverbial, Maurice? Don't say that.
Oh, let's see. I'm copy paste settings. I will be. Oh, it's done.
Maurice, that isn't funny. That's not funny.
Well, I actually think it's down for some now, because let's see. Paste, you're right. Oh.
It's working for me.
Yeah, but I mean we're behind cloud per cache.
You do not. So okay, we have actually broken something. We need to fix it now.
Yeah, it's a run from package shit setting, so it's.
So you know what the issue is, Matthias?
Yeah, well, it's the secret. So I'm just copy pasting them. So it is.
So what's happened though in terms of wasn't able to do the deployment?
This is because we set the run from package to 1, and there's no package.
we set the run from package. It didn't get the package, and we removed the deployment slot. Is what you're saying. So in theory, if we still had the deployment slot, it would have not. Well, no, it would have because it was still. Oh no, because the overall release was a fail, so it would have not switched over the deployment slot.
Yeah. So
interesting. Yes.
So that's why you should like a deployment slot. Something is good.
Can someone? I saw some message going into the GitHub channel. Has someone noticed that it's dead? No, not yet. Okay, that's good. Kim or Maurice, you maybe want to put something in the GitHub chat room just to say that we know that it's down in case anybody sees it. That would be good. Thank you.
So do the password.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. That would be good. And just to reiterate, it's all Mateus's fault. So if you feel free to mention that in the GitHub message, I mean that's fine.
Yeah. So the you say that in a Git chat by doing dev lead no plus. So let's do that.
Thank you, Maurice. So yeah, to reiterate, if we still had the deployment slot in Azure, in theory we can, and that's how you get the kind of the hot swaps between the websites. You can do a deployment to one deployment slot. When that succeeds, it swaps over, so it's using that new version, and the other deployment slot has the old version. And that's your fallback as well. So because we're changing to the zip deployment with the package, we haven't got that deployment slot anymore because it's so quick to do it, and because we've got the develop, we've already published the develop. It should all just work.
Yeah. So I'm just copy pasting here. Oh, why is it? I will move some. I'm copy pasting bad now, so let's move this over. So, base UI. I just think I see what I did wrong. The order is different. So what I have local.
Gotcha. So yeah, Brave Cobra. I thought that's what you were referring to. Essentially, that's what we had, but we're moving away from that so that if it deploys to the develop website, fine. Then the only thing that would result in what we're seeing here would be a failure in the zip package deployment, correct?
No, because once we're up and with the zip package deployment, it will abort the failed, but it currently has nothing to fall back on.
Gotcha.
So as long as I have one good deployment,
gotcha.
What's happening? So I'm just gonna go back and redo this because I messed up. So here, I will set a filter by scope instead. So production. So there we go. So this is the first time thing, but normally like when we set up a site, is that the UI is really schwabby now. So. I'm copy pasting again because I'm doubting myself. So, and then it's the password.
So what was the actual? You do not have permission to view this directory or page.
Yeah, because there's nothing there.
So that would suggest then that. Well, actually, why did Cloudflare not kick in at that point? Why are we getting that and not the Cloudflare cache?
Well, it serves what it gets. So if it was down, Cloudflare caches would kick in. So let's see, there's any, so that's the reason why. So
there should be a period of time that it's serving from the cache though. What's the?
It was that because you actually did a get site first. So it's cached for the period, right? So let's see.
Interesting.
It's there, and
So the only moment it could have failed was reality. Failed was reality. Sounds like Murph in the chat. Yeah, so I think so, Maurice. I'm just curious as to how long that is now, and what the period of that cache is.
Is like, I think if you do a Control F5, it will probably.
I'm trying to remember. I might have just instinctually done that when I was looking at the site. So I wonder if it was cached, and I reset it effectively. Yeah.
And let's see the CUS. So variable side. Here waves. So I created a release 17 now.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because
Hold on.
While you were talking, and I skipped the development stage there, so it should go straight to production. So you can just click there and go to logs.
Let's see. Can we get a drum roll in the chat room, please?
Oh, I could mess on variable. This is why you should probably have just one setting, because then it will be a lot easier.
Not seeing anything. Is it just a...
there? Oh,
it was there. I clicked on it. I got a white screen. It didn't load anything.
So there, logs.
Gonna hit that 99.9. Dun, dun, dun. Waiting for console output from the agent. So I think what I got to last time was saying that these three things are happening in parallel. So in theory, there shouldn't be that much additional build time. So the last build to the develop branch was 58 seconds.
And we're not seeing any retries yet, so...
And we're not seeing any retries yet, so yes, I agree. So it's 52 seconds.
Deployed. Oh, cool.
Where are you seeing that in Slack?
Yeah.
Created via push deployment. Deployed. One more.
So my question is, did we set the setting on the west one? Or is that unzipping? If you go to the portal, you'll check that on the west.
Oh, I thought I did.
I thought we did too, but did we save it?
Well, it's not. It's grayed out.
Yeah, so it should be. Yeah.
Let's click on it again.
Or we can go through them all.
Northeast. App settings. Kapow. So is that a good emote that's happening there? Let's do a refresh here. Oh, not quite yet. Connection settings. Website run from blah blah blah. US. App settings.
Because we have gotten Central and North Europe, so it's the West US that's still deploying. So let's see where we're at. So that's correct. So
yeah. One.
And here. Where do we add the setting?
Application settings. Dun, dun. Scroll. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's there. Okay. Interesting.
That's one word. Would it be the deployment slot?
No, it shouldn't be. Could be something temporary.
But if so this deployment here has succeeded, so this deployed output means it's deployed, correct?
Yeah.
So in theory it should be rendering now?
Or well, it could be that we're actually getting the one that isn't deployed.
So is anyone here in the chat room from the States? Are they able to see the website now?
I mean, I'll probably Cloudflare caches, but how long did it take? It took 3 minutes for us a full deployment, right?
Yeah, about that.
So we can see if it completes. But it's just like the setting isn't. Did we get any spaces or something like that later on? Okay, just when it's done, we can not now because it will reboot the site, so we can just reset the setting later on.
Like that.
No. Watching paint dry.
Indeed. We were so close.
Yeah.
Can't you open the Kudu console and check the content of each app?
We can do that actually.
How does one do that?
So if you go in here and you just write Kudu in the search box, it will
at the top here or at the top here?
Yeah. Now there we are. You're correct. Right Kudu. And there I get it. And you go. Because once this is set up, you will have on the little menu on the right on tools. You will have the zip push deploy there. Oh, cool. Failed. Oh, that's the old, so it hasn't deployed yet. So that was when we set the setting. But it actually, yeah. So let's see, how's the... Oh, so how's the release going? It's taking a while.
Cancel and retry?
Well, yeah, cool. Sure. Can't get worse.
Let's say it was a glitch in the matrix.
No, you can't. Now we can just read it because now we don't go. No, don't need to go. Good production there. Release 17. You can actually just do a redeploy there. Trigger so there and redeploy.
Okay.
And logs. Oh, that was just the download artifact.
but it seemed to appear multiple times.
Yeah, it's one that I downloaded and one download. So that's fine.
I was going to try that, Kim, but I didn't know what effect that would have on my streaming, so I didn't want to do that. But thank you for checking. So we got to about 58. Oh.
So it's
Nope.
oh.
There was a glitch in the matrix, right? Everyone refresh their browsers to see if Cake BuildNet now works. Oh, it works! It works for me!
It works. Yes.
It works for me off screen, so let's do this.
So now we're gonna do a thing.
Ah, look at that!
Okay. So what we want to do now actually is, if you go down to the release.
Go to the release, sorry. Okay.
And back to the pipeline.
This one?
Yeah. And you see and we're going to edit the release. So not...
This one up here?
No, but if you could click the arrow down, you can edit the pipeline.
Edit pipeline? Okay.
Yeah. So here on the... If you click the little lightning on the artifact.
So little lightning on the artifact.
Yeah.
Oh, this is here.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We want to add a branch filter. Now we have developed. We actually want master there because now we actually deploy what's in develop. Because we actually want to almost remove.
Okay, so slow down a little bit. So slow down a little bit. So you're saying change this to master?
Yeah, because we only want to release on master.
Okay, fine.
So we will say this.
How does one do that? Just save.
Just close. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because now we want to merge all the stuff we've done in develop. We want to merge that to master and see if this goes to develop without no issue.
So what you're saying is over here, you want me to do a git checkout master.
Yeah.
And that's not going to work. Oh, I see what the git checkout track.
Master.
Origin master git. Let's just make sure I've got that. Git rebase stream.
Oh, it was just the publish branch that actually changed, so that's fine. So now we can do.
No, I was checking to my branch. My fork was up to date.
Yeah.
So now you want me to merge develop into there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to push this to the upstream.
Yeah. So if this works, then we're actually done.
Patrick just went and checked the commit straight.
So if we now go to the build.
So git push origin, and then over here on build.
Yeah. Because then we can soon refactor a script to remove all of the whole. Actually, we can start doing that for fun. If we go back to develop branch this will just be building.
Sorry, slow down again. So what are you?
So
asking
if you refresh here, you will see a new build soon.
Right.
But what we could do while we're waiting for this build to, it will trigger some, or do we have a? No.
I'm not seeing a new build come through.
No. So what kind of trigger do we have here? Do we have a branch build from this one? Let's see. So triggers, yeah, there. Yeah, so currently we only trigger on develop. Okay, so we change that to master. Let's save. Saving queue.
Where's
saving queue.
Oh, Nothing like a little bit of consistency where the save
and master branch. So yeah, so that's why, because we had a filter there. Perfect. So if you click there, it will be building in the background. So now we can do some tidy upping in the build.cake while it's waiting. So we can actually remove all the cake git stuff later on. So if we go down, I can start backwards. If we go down to the end, we will see an app bear task.
Agreed.
So actually, we can change that to just be build. We can later remove it, but for now, we will no longer deploy the app bear.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go to the build, we can see the deploy task that we can actually just remove then. So if we go to here is deploy task, we can just remove that. So we can clean up the old.
Mm-hmm.
And something more. Yeah, we can remove the. Well, it's probably just that. So and we can remove the cake git add-in. We don't need to fetch that anymore.
Preview, build, get add-ins, cleans, git source. We would still need.
Yeah. So I think it's just. Yeah, I think get source is check get source if it's, but I think that just downloads the zip, right? I checked for. It just does. Yeah, so it gets from the release. Yeah, so we can remove that whole part. So
this get source?
No. I mean, I was checking if that uses KKit, but it just uses the OctoKit.
Oh, I see.
So we can actually remove KKit and KQdo. So this will save even some more time because we don't need to fetch those.
Do we still need the NuGet command line?
No, we don't. We can actually clean that.
You did that all through the API now, right?
Yeah. So and kudo sync we don't need anymore. Yeah, we can go row for row. So there's probably stuff we don't need the whole deploy branch. We can remove.
Where are you seeing that? This one, deploy branch. This one.
Well, actually, yeah.
This one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
See if something more. I think, yeah, let's see. We go down. So the current branch and deploy branch, where do we get those from? Because those we can remove. So let's see if that we can remove. So
where was that? That was on
and the setup task. I'll set up. And you can just maybe just building the site now. Because we just do it once. Building cake build. So that's good. If you go down, do we see anything more we can remove?
Good night, trusty awesomeness. I'm not sure if anyone else will realise where that's from, but it's from a book that both I and I think the person who's behind that handle reads. So trusty awesomeness is an awesome saying.
Yeah. So this is just cleaning that part, probably. Yeah. And that's the release. I think this source directory is something we don't use anymore either, I think, probably. We'll see. You can see what it is. If you search for the source dir variable.
Source?
If you see in the clean, that's used. Okay, that's used. Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's used. So we go down, add in specs. Yeah, yeah. I think we're fine. We can just do see if the script compiles. If we save it and run like the get add-in specs or something, or we can, yeah. This time we'll see if something.
Was that what it was called?
Oh, it's dash equals because this bootstrap. So it's double dash and equals. So using cake, passing. Oh.
Seriously.
So if we go back to the.
Sorry, Maurice has left as well. We should have said bye to Maurice.
Bye.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's cool. It still compiles. If we, we are on the master, check out develop. So you can see that.
Why? We're removing develop, aren't we?
Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. So if we go to, you can see in the DevOps how the build's doing. Yeah, K can handle, but actually we want to depreciate that. So like
to answer the question is yes, depending on the bootstrapper. So the original PowerShell bootstrapper had a single dash variable names, which are then translated into the variable that's actually passed to Cake.
Yeah, and Cake does handle some of the, but it's building, but it's really close. Such timing, it's just done. Amazing, essentially.
I see when running scripts using one of the Cake aliases, it uses single dash. So yeah, it just depends, Kim.
Yeah, it supports both, but like our preferred way going forward.
Oh no, sorry. Okay, so you're not talking about the bootstrapper. So yes, it still depends. The work that Patrick's doing to retrofit Spectre CLI into Cake EXE will provide backwards compatibility, I believe, as well as support for all the things. But Patrick could speak to that a little bit more if he's still in the chat room.
Yeah. So now we should see release triggered soon.
So release is
it's there 18.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought we were still on 18. I've refreshed now. So 18. So Patrick's saying no backwards compatibility for single dashes. So going forward, we're doing things properly. So double dashes for the full name of the parameter, single dashes for the short notation of the options.
Yeah. Which is great. So we will be consistent like with things like .NET CLI and all Unix and Bash commands, and which I like. That's good.
So this should be just a minute to go to the develop. So we go to the logs and see what's happening. So we're at the deployment. So it's waiting for output.
Yeah. It's deployed.
Beautiful.
So that's quick. So that's a big difference. Like this will just take 20 minutes.
Yeah. So should I go ahead and my logs it uses a single dash? Please remember to update Cake execute script then, as currently from my logs it uses single dash only. That sounds like a issue that we should raise, Kim, to track
and
that.
Actually,
if you could, that would be appreciated.
And we have an integration test. We probably failed them because we have integration tests that actually use Cake's execute script. So hopefully those will catch those.
So Brave Cobra is saying introduce release gates.
Well, currently we actually have like the production deployment is a manual triggered. So when we are happy with a deployment, we can just
promote it. Yeah.
But we could have release gates, so we could in the future do that from Slack or something like that, so we can do a bot.
So that's where I think I would want to take this, because I in all due respect to the Azure portal and the DevOps portal, once I've committed to my master branch and I get a Slack message to say that it's succeeded, and I can go to develop.cakebuild.net and see it. I think I'm more inclined to then just say in Slack, push to master or deploy to master, or whatever the terminology we want.
Deploy to prod. Or we can just like hand the keys to someone in the Gitter. No, I mean, we could. So, what would be nice now, like, we had the nice fix you have there with not running stuff on. We should probably want to commit that so we don't deploy on Appier.
So, going forward, we're not going to have a develop branch. So
just commit to that.
So that we'll need to tell everyone on the Cake team about this before we go much forward.
This is documented. No, we have
it's not documented at all. It's really not. So going forward, because we've introduced the whole release pipeline that has both a development and a production, that's the equivalent of the develop and the master branches that we were using previously. So now committing to master is the norm. We're going to have to change the GitHub settings to change from the develop as the default branch to master as a default branch.
Yeah.
Any open PRs will need to retarget against master. So there's all these things that we're going to have to think about.
But that we can edit, yes, this quickly. So just commit this and ship it. So we can change.
See what I have to put up with, people. See this. This is it.
Yeah.
YOLOing all over the place. Build.
But I mean, we won't go to production if it doesn't work. So I mean,
remove Appware targets and general cleanup. General cleanup of.
I mean, we have all these people in the chat like double checking us, so it should be good. Right?
Absolutely. So I can't be held accountable, is what I'm hearing. So I'm just clicking buttons. I'm just taking orders here. So I've committed that to master. So I'm going to do a git push upstream, and I'm going to do a git push origin as well. Git push origin, so that my one's in sync. And then over here on the build.
Yeah. It should trigger the build now because it does. Cool. So now we can go to GitHub and change the default branch.
So what we're saying here
settings.
Settings.
Branches. So this will make things like.
Of course, you get credit. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to click this.
And we can delete the publish branches.
We will have to talk to Jericho if he's still on the chat room.
No, because he's created a PR, right? So
yeah, but if he's explicitly targeting the develop branch, then that's a change that's going to have to flow through into. I mean, we can change that, but if
so we can just go through here and. If we have, there's a PR. Is that okay? Not this one. Just, we have a real PR. Does that work? That one? Or is it something you test?
What are you...
So this we should merge, right? This is, if it builds.
I mean,
master.
Yeah.
This should trigger CI, right?
I don't know if it triggers CI or not. I don't
know.
Go
down. You see that? Go down. Scroll. I didn't.
I don't think it does. I'm more inclined to... Yeah, I'm going to put that back. Yeah, we'll leave it just now. So you said the branches we can tidy up. So
yeah, but we can just rebase that PR and then we'll trigger CI later on.
But that might need a rebase onto, so that it's technically only got the commits that are there. So this one here, publish master, I can delete this one.
I think it's probably we need to protect master. We have done that later on. We can check that, but just delete the publish. Yeah, we're not using those anymore.
Okay, delete this one.
Yeah.
Should I delete develop also, or is that a step too far?
We have PRs and that's and it's protected, so it's a step too far now. But we'll do that. But I mean, master is protected. Cool. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to check that here as well.
So the protected icon.
Oh, you did. Okay. Fine.
So it's there.
Cool.
But we need to require. We want to have pull request reviews. Yeah. And if you go down, we need starter checks to pass before marching. And here we want build cake build. That is the first one. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. And where's the
The what?
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I think this is good enough. Where's the we need to be rebased before? Is that enough to be protected, right? Or is it need something more? Well, we can save this at least.
Yeah. Which one have you picked? Let's do that.
It's the one with the stars.
So what's this? Where did we get to? So the build is ongoing.
Yeah.
Been going on for 2 minutes 54.
Yeah. So while it's going, we can rebase that PR. So we trigger the build. Oh, he's rebased.
Kim's already done it. Kim's on the ball.
He's a champ. So hopefully, we get and we get a review. So that's building. Perfect.
Cool. Yeah, I wasn't clear on what this person was. I used Google Translate to figure out that he was, or he or she. There's the description
about the space
change. It was a little strange.
You can see the file. Well, if you click file change. Let's see if we.
What do you want to see?
Do we trigger a build? It could be that we need some PR configuration too. Replace characters in the description. Okay. Do we have any errors in the description?
No. That's why I was really confused. You saw the builds over here.
Have we queued a PR build? No. So that I haven't done that. So if you do edit, let's see the triggers. Could be that the PRs are for developer branch or something. Triggers. Pull request validation. Yeah, that's on develop, so we need to change that to master too. Could he, if we hit save here, could he do a rebase again, or just a commit amend or something? So he'll trigger.
Yeah, you okay to do that, Kim? Thank you very much.
Because that should trigger.
Back to the build, see how far we're getting through with this.
Oh, that's done. It's done.
So that's there. So we should have another release. Number 19.
Yeah. And I can now we have the swing lanes for each stage. We should probably we will have. You can see which version is out and things like that. So it's nice. That's done.
That'd be great, Kim. Thank you. So now on that release, it. Oh no, I thought it was done. I thought you said it was done, or did I mishear you?
No, it's just started. That takes a minute.
Hey. So yeah, it was about a minute deploying. There we go.
So this is a real improvement because now we're like, when this is one of the like watch paint dry moments when we do cake release, because it's taking like 15-20 minutes. Oh, there's building. Thank you very much.
I saw it. So yeah, the fact that this is deployed now in less than a minute, and the overall build took, what was it, 6 minutes or something? Yeah. Compared to multiple tens of minutes for change to the website. Yeah. And the fact that once we're happy with it, it's just another minute and a half on top of that to publish to the master or the production. Yeah, that's game changer.
Yeah, so it's really nice, and it also like it simplifies things because now we went from 3 branches to 4. This will also mean that once we prune our local, it will be a much lighter repository to clone. Yeah. Because we had all those revision histories from all those published Git deployments. Yeah. So actually, the builds will actually be faster now because before the clone took a time. The builds are public, yeah, which is really nice now. But that's like it didn't used to be, but now they are like DevOps. If your repository is open source one, it will be public. I can.
Okay, so we have some tidy up to do in terms of what then? So we have.
Well, we have the develop branch we need to delete too.
So let me take some notes here. So we have develop branch.
Yeah. So we just need to retarget all the PRs.
We have PRs to tidy up.
Yeah, and
talk to Jericho about add-in discoverer. Yeah. Anything else? So you're speaking about pruning the Git history as well there. So you're talking about
that will happen automatically on GitHub. But if you have like a clone or fork, you might have the published branches.
But would we not want to remove the Git history? So we've deleted the branch, but that history is still in the Git repository, right? There's tools that can go through.
Because, but not on GitHub because those branches were orphaned. They had nothing to do with developer master.
Oh, I see. Okay. So okay. So there's nothing to do there.
But it should be like if you have a fork, you might need to clean up those bits. But the improvement will be that someone that wants to contribute to the site for the first time will have a much faster clone. So that's nice. So we have that one.
I've got a note here about the Slack approvals. So promoting development to production is something we want to do.
Yeah, there's actually Azure DevOps team have released Slack bot. So there's actually one that you can do almost everything with. So we should install that.
Okay. I agree, Kim. So we need to speak to Jericho before we go ahead and delete that, because I suspect he's probably targeting specifically the develop branch. So we'll break add-in discoverer. I think if we were to do that without talking to him. So yes, we'll do that. Anything else that we needed to speak about or to do afterwards? Was there any deployment slots we need to tidy up or any other additional Azure settings?
Yeah, we should probably remove what we don't use. So we clean up, save some credits, things like that. But
Okay.
Overall, it's in the.
So overall, we've gone.
As usual says.
Overall, we've gone we've gone to rather.
So we had
6 minute. Hold on. So this build was 6 minutes 13 seconds.
Yeah. So we went from like.
Deployment was 58 seconds. Overall, this was 1 minute 13. Okay.
Yeah.
So in total, that's 7 minutes 26 seconds.
Yeah, and we were like 20 minutes or something before we started with this optimization. So that's 40 minutes less is a game changer.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I mean, if you have, and the good thing, like if you have a regular like a YAM sites, most don't have a lot of this. Like, it will mean that in less than a minute you will have a YAM site out.
Yeah, because I mean the biggest part of the build is the downloading of the NuGet packages, the extraction of the XML files, the generation of the API documentation that a standard YAM blog or YAM site isn't going to have.
Yeah. So
sounds good.
Yeah, and actually the PR looks good. So the only required check there.
Did I see someone else playing with one of my? Did you repush this one as well? Or...
Yeah, that actually works now. So I actually set it to master, and it did trigger. So it was just that we didn't have the.
Okay, cool.
So I will say it looks good to me here because it looks good.
Okay then. So unless there are any questions from the chat room, I think we should draw this to a natural conclusion in the sense that it's working. So let's not break it anymore.
Yeah, because it's only downhill from here.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
We've never been this successful.
No. Let's just draw a line under it right now. But no, I think this is genuinely. I think this has been good work. I've learned a few things, and I still know I need to play with more Azure. But I was glad you were here to drive on this one. So
yeah. And there's still some like room for improvement, like I said, like, and that could be a community contribution. Like we could add the whole clean Cloudflare caches and things like that on the master build.
Let's do that as well. So this was
we can raise an issue for all these things, so we don't.
I'll write it on my bit of paper here so I remember it. Cloudflare cache, and Kim's just suggested something there as well. Connect to Gitter for deployments.
Yeah, because it's really nice. Like when they are on develop, we can actually, because we have there's like this splendid man that did a Kgitter add-in.
I can't imagine who you'd be talking about there, but sure.
So this is totally possible, and then we can have things like notify people, because there's a thing like, when will this docs be out? Well, then we can actually, and we haven't promoted the develop site much, but we can actually do that because it's good for people to. When we merge a PR, we can notify them that it's there.
Yep. But no, I like that one. So yeah, connect to Gitter for about the deployment to the site. I think that makes sense. Cloudflare cache, so we could bust it as part of the build. Like that.
And they're like the sky's the limit. And the really nice thing I think about this is that if someone does a fork, they can actually test this in the fork. Because if they just register an Azure DevOps account and an Azure website, they can test the whole pipeline because it's just a few environment variable settings.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, because if we want to do some, which I've done on occasion, like if we need to do some major refactoring, we can do that in a PR, and that can deploy and test everything. Because now we have our whole deployment and build as code.
Yep.
There's just some wiring up that's done in the Azure. So I think this is really nice. I use it to work sometimes. Like the whole recipe now is versioned with the site. I really like that. So even if not the YAML bits are there yet, we have it with Cake.
Yeah,
we have configuration as code.
I mean, in actual fact, we didn't actually need to create the deploy.cake. We could have kept everything in a single build.cake, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of nice because then the deploy.cake is an artifact, because we don't have.
Yeah, so I'm saying, it's. I agree that the segregation makes sense,
because,
but there's no reason that it couldn't have.
No, but then we need to add the build.cake because we don't have the source in the release.
Yes.
So I think it's kind of nice because that's the only thing, and also we won't leak anything. It's clear separations.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we'll see soon. Kim's add-in will be on develop, because I just merged that.
Cool.
So this is
C1 new build. Look, there we go.
Yeah. So the turnaround is night and day, because now like we can actually. Before it was like, if we have 5 PRs, that would be like 2 hours of work.
Yeah, that's true.
Just watch the beta. Now it's in an hour we can do 7. Yeah. So it's.
Agreed.
And I mean, YAM's, like, if you haven't checked out YAM, we should probably sometime do a stream just on YAM, because it's really really good.
Yep.
And if you have a .NET project, it's amazing how you can get the docs and everything. For most sites, like I have a JSON serializer I maintain called JSON, and that builds in when I have done this in programs as I will do it, that will deploy in just because if a normal site will build in like 20 seconds or 10 seconds or something and deploy in, because this is actually with the cake site is actually 100 megs we're pushing up, so it's still physics. And this using the same, you will recognize it. And if you have a blog like something like a get-butting or something like that, you can do Azure site search. And like this is Azure website, but I mean, most web frameworks can take a zip artifact and deploy it. So it's good.
Cool. Right.
It's cool. It's great to see if something actually works.
Agreed.
And I mean, there's room for improvement, but I think we got pretty far today.
Mm-hmm.
We will do some cleanup. We'll do some, and everything here is the good thing about an open source project is that we can actually display everything, and there's no actual like there's nothing we need to hide. So it's good reference. So if someone wants to steal this, go ahead. It's MIT. Just steal ahead. And if you have any questions, just ping us.
We may have some tidy up and README. Just have to read through it and see if.
We'll need to probably tidy it up because we don't have the same branch anymore, and we don't have. So that's great.
But no, sounds good to me.
Yeah. So
cool.
And a big thanks to Kim for the assisting. Making this even more success.
Indeed.
And all the extra eyes in the chat is always great because some things were intentional that we're going to break, some weren't. So it's good to have the people.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm going to close off the stream now. So next scheduled stream for me will be this Friday, my Friday lunchtime. I will most likely be updating some more cake add-ins under my kind of supervision. Kim, I might be looking at cake coveralls because I noticed there's some PR open and some discussion around that one. So that's probably the one that I'm going to be looking at next. And for next Monday's stream, no immediate plans. So if there's anything anybody wants to jump onto or come on the stream, feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to have you on as a guest. So yeah, feel free to reach out. But for now, I'm going to end the stream, and we shall see you on the internet. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.